one of the ways I perfected this, and well, I shouldn't say that. It didn't perfect it. I mean, nothing's perfect. But one of the ways that I worked on this was I had the ability to go down and to this place called IBI. It's called CEO Space now, and 68 times I went down there for a week, and they covered my expenses, and I basically taught for free. And then I, started businesses out of there and everything. But I got to test out what I'm doing on over 7,000 people. So sometimes it was a group as small as 60, sometimes it was 400. And in this one particular instance, this couple had shared with me that they were having some issues with each other, and they were in their early 50s. And I said, well, when we get to the Thursday class, it's called Transformation, but I officially call it Let's Talk, because that's basically what it is, saying what you need to say. I said, make sure you sit beside each other. And I normally don't do that. I normally don't like to play God. And on the Thursday lesson, I always said, no, you just go in and sit down and have a good time, And it's a 2.5 hour process that I take, however many are there, we take them through with music and everything like that. And when they walked in the door, they were the only ones I told, make sure you sit beside each other. And I just love the randomness of it, and it's usually always works out to be perfect. So they walked into the room, the music started, I shared a few silly things, and I got everybody to just get a little bit loose. And then I said, okay, turn and face a partner. Now, they were sitting right beside each other. And I thought, oh, this is so perfect. He turns to his left and ends up with his older man, and she turns to her right and ends up with this late teens young boy. And it was like, because I was sort of sneaking a peek, in a room full of 300 or 400 people, I'm sneaking a peek just to make sure they're going to be okay. And it was like, oh my goodness, I mean, like I almost wanted to go over and say, no, you two be to each other, and then you. And I said, no, it's okay. I mean, it's obviously happened for a reason in this particular instance, so let's just go with it. So 2.5 hours later, the class was over, and we played some celebration music, and everybody sort of dancing around. And I look, and the two of them are hugging each other, and both of them have tears in their eyes. And as everybody's packing up their stuff and leaving the room, they're in a situation where they're just sort of in almost like a slow dance. They're just sauntering back and forth, just swaying, almost like a bulrush in the wind, and they were just swaying. And after they came up, sort of arms around each other's shoulder, and they came up to me at the front and said, thank you so much for telling us to sit in here, and I said, but I got to tell you guys, I said, I thought you were going to do this together. And they said it was perfect the way it worked out. Because here's this gentleman, he's in his early 50s, and he turned and he was with an older man, and he was incomplete with his father. And so he got to complete with his father. And this woman in her early 50s, she turns and she's with this 18, 19-year-old young man, and it turns out that they had lost a son earlier in their life. And he got to be her son. And she said, Barry, it was perfect. And I said, thank you, because I almost came over and said, no, you two be together. So, and again, the whole process of the closure coach, some people call me a clearing coach or the completion coach. The entire process is about talking so you can come to closure, so you can not get rid of it, but just bless it. Whatever happened, there's a bless in every mess. I sure didn't like it when they said, you've got cancer, get your affairs in order. But when I look back, like I said, there's a bless in every mess, but it's really hard to see the bless when you're in the middle of the mess. But when you look back through the eyes of understanding and the eyes of love and the eyes of forgiveness and the eyes of hope, you find out there really was a bless in the mess. And, her getting to complete with her son, and him getting to complete with his dad, it was perfect, because their stuckness wasn't with each other. It was within, their own hearts that they were stuck on other problems. So when you're considering on doing this process, just make sure, even if you do it at home by yourself, just make sure that you start writing down all the sadnesses, and don't let anything go by. And oh, it was just a little thing. Oh, it was something they said. No, just write it all down. Make sure you're getting it all out there, and make sure if you're still stuck after you do it, make sure you go see your therapist or psychologist or psychiatrist. Whatever it is you have to do to get whole again, because you are worth it. Your life is worth it. I think you're just too tired of living like this anymore. You're carrying around this sadness that you don't have to carry around anymore. And depending on your belief system, again, maybe you'll see them again in heaven. I'm not sure what you believe, but whether you do or whether you don't, wouldn't it be nice to know that their memory is saying, I wish you would let go because I'm okay. Let it go, let it go, let it go. I'm okay, and you need to take care of yourself. And so again, it's totally up to you whether you want to believe any of this, or it's your belief system, and I don't want you to be stuck anymore. And if you're still watching these videos and going through this webpage, I don't think you want to be stuck anymore either. So you've got to do something. So I know you've probably seen counselors already. You've probably seen people, doctors, therapists. Maybe you've talked to friends, but do it in a more formal process where you're allowed to take your time, say the things you have to say, and maybe hear them back.